Hello, and welcome to the Mortal Kombat commentary hosted by myself, Cruz Moore of JamCamProductions.com, and my good friend and one of the only people I can talk about movies with, Joseph Baez. What's up, Joseph?
Hey, Cruz.
Hi. Now, in order to make sure this commentary track is in sync with the movie, we're going to start at the beginning of the film at the black screen, and when I say 3, 2, 1, and on play, we're both going to hit play, and everything should be in sync. And in order to make sure that everything continues to be in sync, we'll be quoting certain dialogue throughout the film. So if at any point our dialogue is not in sync with your dialogue, feel free to rewind or fast forward this commentary track and everything should be in sync. You might also be able to hear the movie in our background, seeing as I don't have a headphone splitter, and you can sync it up that way as well. But we're going to try to get it right the first time by going 3, 2, 1, and play. So, Joseph, tell me something.
Go for it.
Are you ready for the greatest movie intro ever of all time in existence?
I am so inexplicably ready, I almost have no words to say.
Are you ready? Because it's going to come like right
Oh my
now.
God. There
oh,
it is.
Yeah.
There it is. Look at such fury.
This theme song and intro never get old.
No, they really don't. Honestly, it takes me back to my childhood when I first played games.
And it's incredibly simple because it's just like, it's fire and titles and what looks like a glass floor and then finally revealing the awesome, unbeatable Mortal Kombat logo. Yay!
And there it is. Doesn't get any more simple than that.
So, Joseph, what exactly was your first introduction to Mortal Kombat in general, including the movie?
My God, actually, growing up in a family that was highly conservative, I feel, my uncle was actually the one who would always introduce me and my brother into things such as this.
That is the exact same story as me. It's my uncles that introduced me to hyper-violent things.
Uncles
like
are the
Mortal Kombat.
best.
Yeah.
Aren't they great? So, God bless uncles. I hope to be the worst one also.
You go to their house and like all the rules are gone.
Exactly. If my mom ever found out that I was playing the games or even watching this movie, oh, she would have had my head. I mean, look at this. First minute in, and already someone's already getting beaten up.
And about to have their spine crushed.
And their soul taken. What is he, like 12? See, this is exactly what my mother didn't want me to see.
They've resorted to 12-year-olds fighting in Mortal Kombat tournaments, and that's exactly why they lost 9 times in a row, I guess. This is also, I think, one of the first jump scares I had as a kid.
Oh my God, you're right.
Just comes out of nowhere.
I think I just had one right now. Man, it's been such a while. I think that alone was just enough to give me that jump.
If I ever meet Paul Anderson and not scream at him for making the horrible 4th and 5th Resident Evil movies, I want to ask him why exactly did he choose green lighting for this scene? Where exactly is it coming from? Is it coming from the rain outside?
I think that's cut to the point.
So you were saying, Joseph, about your uncles and their
Yeah,
lovely introduction to the series.
Yeah, well, I mean, he would take us to see all kinds of awesome movies. Power Rangers. He would take us to see Star Wars when the third one came out.
Mm-hmm.
But when he took me to see this, my brother and I remember it was just so action packed for me. It was so intense. It was a ride, and I think watching it now again after all these years is going to be pretty refreshing. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, you said you hadn't seen it since when?
Oh God, I think that was when I was about 8 or 9 years old.
Okay,
And
I've seen this at least once a year. So
Oh my God.
it's a film that never gets old for me.
I'm sure if I wasn't here right now, you'd be quoting it secretly in hushed whispers.
I quote it at least once a week.
Oh God.
As with every other movie in my mind.
Attaboy.
Mm. Like, I found some sunglasses when I was cleaning theaters the other day,
Oh no.
and they were broken,
Oh,
and
no.
immediately I just thought, those are $500 sunglasses,
Oh my
asshole.
God. Actually, looking at this right now, even looking at the costume design for
It's really good.
it's actually quite fantastic.
Without being completely blatant. This
Absolutely.
is straight from the game.
It definitely is. I think with his the eye being robotic and cyborg like, I think that alone is good to show how times were getting better and more promising for the movie industries.
Yeah. Along with the fact that this is one of the, I think, prime classics from mid-90s cinema.
Definitely.
And how it's going from like the gritty sulkiness of the 80s, but with the slight refinement of technology of the 90s.
Absolutely.
I'm going to say something really quick about this scene here. In the trailer, this shotgun blast is in cool slow motion right here. Awkward. Like, it cut 3 times, but in the trailer, it's one single slow motion shot.
You gotta make it good in the trailers. How else are you gonna sell the movie?
Like, well, then why couldn't you just use that? Just edit in from the trailer. It's the exact same footage. But that's how it was with me. I actually wasn't introduced to the game first. I was introduced to the movie.
Really?
And this was pretty much the core movie that I would get from Video Depot, rest their soul.
Wow.
And then 3 days later, when we had to turn it in, I'd get it right there again.
That's dedication
Yeah.
right there. You know, already having played the video games, my uncle would take us to arcades, and in the arcade they would have a Mortal Kombat arcade game. And so we'd start with that. And, you know, that game alone, I felt like I wasn't supposed to be playing it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It was just so gnarly. But with this movie, I think it was one of those excitements, like how it is now when you read a book and then they adapt it into a film. It was that exact same feeling where it was a video game at first and then went into a movie. I was excited. I was.
Do you happen to remember what year it would have been? Because this was made in 95 when we both would have been 2 years old.
No, but I remember it was a DVD. It wasn't in a theater.
Okay.
It was not DVD, but like a VHS.
Yeah.
And it was, I remember my uncle brought it just as he would bring other movies. And it was great.
This is where you fall down. What I pretty much say every time I get new employees that don't know what they're doing.
My God, you're right.
Yeah, with me, my uncles introduced me to darkened cinema like Dark City, Mortal Kombat, Hellraiser, A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yes.
And yeah, this one just hooked with me incredibly well, and it didn't stop. And it was also one of those films that kind of introduced me to my love for film and paying attention to every tiny little detail. So when I would reenact this movie as a kid, it wasn't just doing what the characters did, it was doing the music with my mouth.
Yes.
It was thinking about the colors and the edits and the sound effects, and it basically made me understand all the components to a movie and how it all worked together. Oh, Lyndon Ashby, what are you doing nowadays? I think a recent article I read, he's still studying martial arts, and I think has his own company where he works on a ranch. I have no idea. But he is in the 3rd Resident Evil movie, which was also written by the writer and director of this movie, Paul W.S. Anderson.
Wow. You know, I'm sure he looks back on his glory days with this film.
I'm sure he does, because, I mean, it's back when everyone had the strange feeling that they were going to make a 3rd movie to this series. He kept saying that, yeah, I'm returning as Johnny Cage. And Chris Cosmos is returning as Scorpion, and everything's going to be awesome, and it never freaking happened.
Oh, boy.
I remember back in 2005, IMDb had a page for Mortal Kombat Devastation to come out in 2005, and it never happened.
My God.
And I learned to never trust the internet ever again.
Mexico or Thailand?
Thailand.
So colorful, you can't really tell.
But I like the fact that they actually went out to a place like this to film and get this Mortal Kombat.
You just can't fake
sense.
that kind of scenery.
Yeah.
You can't.
Which is why, like, the same director, when he made the 4th Resident Evil movie and everything went downhill, almost everything was green screen and in 3D slow motion. And it's like, I don't understand how you go from making faithful adaptations of games to not faithful adaptations. Although you say realistic scenery, I think this is actually green screen. Not this one.
Probably basically every scene where
But
there's
this one.
lightning and
I think this one, right?
and storms.
Liu Kang is another example. You don't have him look exactly the way he did in the first video game, but you have him look enough as the character and act enough as a character to get a believable adaptation of it. Especially for a fighting game that really has no character development.
Right.
And a story that you only read through quick still frame cutscenes.
Mm-hmm.
Because what Paul W.S. Anderson did well with this adaptation of Mortal Kombat and his adaptation of Resident Evil was not make a by-the-books adaptation of it, and instead just take elements from a number of the games and make your own story.
Because the thing about the video game is that you don't really get a fluid storyline. I think with the games, I think the storyline just depends on who you choose as your character and who you combat in that moment. So I think I'm pretty proud about how they made these movies with choosing a plot, or at least choosing a direct storyline.
And giving some development and depth to the actual characters.
Right, absolutely.
Especially with Raiden, because... oh no, I forgot his name.
Oh boy.
I hate myself right now. Christopher Lambert. Or Lambert. Like, this is nothing like the Raiden that we were introduced to in the games, but I much prefer Christopher Lambert's portrayal of him as this kind of snarky, sarcastic elder god / Highlander. I can't even remember the name of the guy that portrayed him in the second movie, but he's just nothing compared to Christopher Lambert.
He's just got that presence, that embodiment of power, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen Highlander?
No.
No, he pretty much plays the same character.
Really?
He's just a thunder god who can't die. There's also tiny little small things in the film that hint at the game, like right here with electricity in his eyes. Like, it's not a huge thing to show that it's based off the game, but it's just a small little hint at, like, yeah, they're just strewn about throughout the movie. So, Joseph, have you gotten the chance to play Mortal Kombat X?
I have not.
Neither
actually.
have I. Hooray. We
I
can just
haven't-
both suffer together.
This new one actually looks pretty icy. It looks pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. The graphics in it, the music I hear is awesome. You know, it definitely making me eager in anticipation
Anticipation of
trying to see what this new game is like. I mean, the graphics keep getting better and better every year. Who knows? Soon it'll be probably interactive in the future.
Well, unless one of us gets a PS4 and Xbox One, I guess we'll never know. Because it is already out. and I thought they were going to release it for the PS3, and then NetherRealm decided to say, no, go screw yourself.
God, classic corporate.
So it took me years to finally play Mortal Kombat 9 after I got a PS3, and then right as I do that, they have MKX, and it's like, okay, well, that's probably another couple years I won't play a Mortal Kombat game. And then by the time I play that one, I'll get to Mortal Kombat 11. I won't be able to play that either. This is another nice little inkling that they have that shows that we're adapting the game, but not blatantly. It's that's actually Jax right next to Sonya.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that he isn't like in the actual tournament or in the rest of the movie. So it shows that, yeah, he's in this universe, but he doesn't need really to be part of the main cast. Although if Jax did replace Art Lee, who's a black guy that gets the shit beaten out of him by Goro. Like, if we had it be him instead, there probably would have been more of a feeling like, oh, we just lost a character who actually meant something. And if anything shows the success and the likability of this movie is the fact that the developers eventually took elements from the movie and put it into the game, which is why Kano went from he was Asian mixed with some other ethnicity and a mercenary. But then once this movie came out and Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance came out, his design and his voice was pretty much set on an Australian basis. So that's how Kano is now, and that's pretty much thanks to the movie.
You know, actually on YouTube there is I believe a web series or webisodes of Mortal Kombat characters and their like somewhat origin stories.
Oh, you mean from the Machinima series?
Machinima,
oh,
exactly,
okay.
Yes. And I think those did a pretty decent job. I think with the animation that they did or with the effects, I think it was actually had that action-packed intensity.
Are you talking about season 1 or 2?
1.
Huh. Did I even start season 2? Because I did see all the little vignettes for season 1, and some were better than others. I liked Raiden's, if you remember him, where he falls from the heavens.
Is that the one where he's from the insane asylum?
Yeah, he falls from the heavens into the backyard of an insane asylum.
Right.
And with him saying that he's a thunder god, they think he's insane.
Of course, because anybody who claims to be God is clearly sane.
Yeah. And I thought that was a cool thing they did with his character, but everything else was kind of, I don't know, felt lackluster. The second season seemed to have a little bit more promise because they had the same actor who plays Shang Tsung in this movie portray him in the series, but I just never really got around to watching it. Especially when they showed a preview of a Scorpion as a normal guy, and he tells his son to get over here.
Absolutely.
Like, oh, that's the origin of Scorpion, I guess. Speaking of which, Scorpion and Sub-Zero.
Enter the badasses.
Thinking about this scene now, when Shang Tsung says, Scorpion and Sub-Zero, deadliest of enemies, do you think there was ever anyone who didn't know about the game and watched the scene and went, so which one's which?
I don't think that's hard to decide.
This clearly is Scorpion, right?
Spoiler alert!
And that's Sub-Zero. If it gives any indication of how much I love Scorpion, I dressed up as him for Halloween of 1996 when I was 3 years old.
I think it was you and about a million other children that did the exact same thing.
And also having to decide, Scorpion or Sub-Zero, who do I dress up as?
I think even to this day, those are probably still highly sold costumes in stores.
I think mine was homemade, so it just made it feel a little slightly more authentic.
10 points for Gryffindor. All right.
Hufflepuff. 10 points for Hufflepuff. There you go.
My apologies.
I like this blue lighting on Shang Tsung. I like blue lighting in every 90s movie.
You know, I was just about to add, it seems like in both Ninja Turtles, this movie, and even the Power Rangers films, they do this blue lighting effect often, and there's nothing wrong with it, quite honestly.
It just says 90s to me.
It definitely does.
It also says New Line Home Entertainment because, well, I mean, their logo has that blue light behind them.
Right.
And they've also put their name on other great 90s films like Dark City, In the Mouth of Madness, things like that. So New Line was basically a big staple for me in my childhood. In regards to Shang Tsung, I like the fact that they didn't adapt him as a super old dude from MK1 or his reborn youth in MK2. They have this nice balance between someone who's kind of aging but still retains this almost sultry youth to him.
That's true. That's definitely true. The big reveal.
I like the fact that they didn't have this speech at the beginning of the film to try to introduce anyone who wasn't familiar with the game, and instead actually have you pay attention to what's going on. Because they could have easily been like, a long time ago, there was a tournament that was created.
You know, I think a problem with most movies today is that they coddle the audience by doing the storytelling way too early without... It makes them not want to pay attention, you know, too much to the movie and what's going on. I think when you're trying to figure out what is this world and who are these characters, I think that is a bigger appreciation for the storyline and its development.
Yeah. Especially with video game movies where it's like, if you're going to get people who haven't played the game to see your movie, you might want to explain everything in the first 5 minutes, which isn't that great to do. But then again, we haven't really had a video game-based movie since, what?
Doom?
Really? Doom came out in like 2006? Blood Rain came out in 2007 or 8?
Really?
I can't think of any big ones.
Silent Hill, maybe. Revelation.
I know you didn't have to say that.
It's grueling to say, but Silent Hill Revelation just might be the most recent video game to movie adaptation.
You're right.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
That came out, what, 3 years ago?
No, I think 2014, actually.
Yeah, a couple years ago. It's not there. And then, to put it into perspective, the newest movie coming up is that Assassin's Creed movie.
Oh, right, yeah.
With Michael Fassbender.
And Warcraft.
Right.
Yeah. I've never been a fan of those games, so I have no idea how they'll do. I honestly don't care.
It's highly controversial.
With Assassin's Creed?
It's just, there's a 50-50 crowd. Killer graphics. I actually didn't mean that jokingly. I meant for this time period, I think it was actually done pretty well.
It's so sick.
And the quoting begins now.
Yeah. Both out of my fandom and to make sure that whoever's listening is in sync. We're also providing a commentary for this movie, not only because we love it and we can talk about it, but the fact that, despite the fact that this movie's been released 3-4 times on DVD and Blu-ray, no audio commentary from the cast or the director.
Really?
Yeah.
Nothing.
No idea why. Apparently Paul Anderson's too busy making Resident Evil fucking 6 or Pompeii or Three Musketeers. He's just so busy that he can't sit in a room and talk for an hour and a half about one of the only good movies he made. Robin Shaw and Lyndon Ashby could sit in a room and talk about this movie.
I have a guilty pleasure for loving characters like his.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about their naivety that just is so entertaining.
And he's cocky without being an asshole.
Exactly.
It also doesn't come with deleted scenes.
I'm sorry, really?
Yeah, because there's one here that I had no clue about until I got a Mortal Kombat trading card with a picture from it. Is that they're like, who can we ask about what the hell's going on in this island? So they go up to this monk, who's I think is holding a book, and they're going to ask him what's going on, but his lips have been sewn shut. And that's to show that all secrets about Shang Tsung's island are going to be kept a secret.
That is way better than a cereal box prize.
Why they deleted it, I have no clue. Why it's not included on the DVD, I have no clue.
That is a sin.
But what they did include on the Blu-ray was the, I think, maybe 30-40 minute cartoon tie-in for the first movie called The Journey Begins. Did you ever happen to see that?
I actually was going to ask you. I've never seen that before.
Really?
Really,
We should
honestly.
do a commentary on that. As you watch it for the first time. Because as a kid, it's really enjoyable, but looking back on it now, the animation and the early computer graphics are...
Really?
Woof.
Wow.
Woof.
You sound No, very adamant about it. All right, then I'm about to give it a shot.
I love Reptile.
Yes, very,
love
very good
Reptile.
reveal. This is one of those moments that if you saw it in theaters, you know everybody was just, get very riled up over seeing something like that.
I also like the fact that in the games, he's mostly designed to look like a lizard, whereas in this one they went with
Full reptilian.
lizard / snake / velociraptor / crocodile.
Yep.
Like a literal interpretation of the word reptile.
Absolutely.
And what it would apply to. And the fact that he has like almost every color on him to blend in with everything.
Literally freaked me out.
The score for the movie is really good too, by George S. Clinton.
You know, I think that should have been a big part for this movie. You know, one thing that they commented during a video game commentary, actually, on one of the other most recent Mortal Kombat video games, was that music did play an important part in Mortal Kombat video games.
Mm-hmm.
Was that it was always that adrenaline filling, you know, pumping up vibe to it. That I think when it came to making a score, it had to still have that atmosphere of being foreboding or looming.
As well as in keeping with an Asian aesthetic.
Right.
Even though Mortal Kombat is a game series that has Asian aesthetic, but doesn't fully, I guess, regard itself as an Asian product in a way.
That's very true, because there are some fight arenas where it's more urban themed, and you can't really tell exactly where it's taking place, but does that really matter with what's going on in the moment?
Like, Mortal Kombat has enough Asian culture in it to give you a taste of it, but I wouldn't recommend using it as a source of history or culture for
Correct.
Japan or China.
Absolutely.
Although they tried to do that in the PS2 Mortal Kombat games by trying to introduce a fighting system that was based around Taekwondo and other fighting styles. But what I like about what George did with the score in this movie is that he not only incorporated Asian-infused orchestra, he also did a lot of synth and electronic influence with it to create this nice symbiosis between that Asian orchestra with what would sound like the Mortal Kombat video game soundtrack. Along with the soundtrack, without the score, the actual source soundtrack with all the band influences, like, you get a good combination of heavy metal, but you also get a good mixture of rock that sounds like it has some 90s-esque video game soundtrack mixed in. I feel like this scene is almost Indiana Jones-esque when I think of it.
Are you talking about the scene with the sword and the
Yeah.
gun? Classic.
I just thought about that.
Yes, you're right. Oh, come on, man. That was just cold.
See, like that, it's not a big thing from the game, but it's a nice little addition to it.
Yes.
To just have flawless victory in there. Be good for the career, he said. Now that I think of it, I'm surprised none of the people from, like, Earthrealm, like, none of them in the background just went, "What the fuck was that?"
I like how no one's actually questioning someone forming ice out of nowhere.
They're like, well, that was fun.
So that happened. But Shang Tsung.
love the set design of this movie so much.
It's got that. I mean, it's fantastic, but I feel like it's also one of those amusement park, like,
Yeah.
if you were waiting in line, it's got that feel where they have to make it entertaining while you're waiting, and there's nothing wrong with it.
This is the best version of the Tiki Room I've ever seen.
Yes.
Also,
Oh,
it's set designs like this that where we live in the Palm Springs area, which has a lot of
Dirt.
yeah, the dirt, and I don't know what to call them. Like, are they called adobes? The houses that are designed like that? out
Yeah,
here?
you know what? It has a Latin American architecture design, that adobe feel, clay wall.
And for some reason, as a kid, I always saw, whether it be hotels or houses like that out here, that it's somehow related to Mortal Kombat, and I really have no clue why. It might have just been my boredom. But we have a hotel called the Miramonte in Indian Wells that the outside has a certain brown tinge to it, and the roofing has a certain design to it, and I think it also has these like vines growing over the front.
The vines.
And every time I drove by that as a kid, I just thought Mortal Kombat. I have no clue why.
You actually make a very good point there. It adds that adventurous mystery or mysticism to it, actually. Yeah, you're right. God, there's something about that looks just so delicious. I mean,
well, except for that.
Right, except for that, and then appetite ruined.
Although I love Goro's animatronics. That people actually puppeteered this thing.
Did they?
Yeah. Well, it was a combination of stop motion and puppeteering.
That was all puppeteering, really, and stop motion. Wow, and this whole time I thought it was somebody inside of that.
Well, yeah, I think it's a combination of all three of those.
Oh man,
Someone inside it.
That's love.
Puppeteering it and stop motion.
That is love.
Might look a bit awkward here and there, but at least it's physical. At least you can touch that thing. Which is exactly why I love practical effects so much more than computer-generated effects. Like, I just recently watched The Thing. Did you ever see John Carpenter's The Thing?
Never.
Really?
Neither the new or the old.
I gotta show you that then.
Please, that'd be fantastic, actually.
And I've recently been trying to listen to their commentary on it, but it's really hard for me to rewatch that film because the prosthetics and the animatronics of that movie disgust me so much because it's gut-wrenching and horrifying to see things like that, physical things like that. And then when I see clips of the CG one in the newest remake / prequel, it just doesn't scare me because I know that was created by a computer and it wasn't hand-sewn or crafted or plastered together by human hands to make something physically disgusting.
You have a very good point with that. I think practical effects and I think animatronics, prosthetics especially, I think they could be done so much better with the technology we have today if people continue to use them in cinema. When's the last time you've ever seen something like that in a more modern movie? Would you say Star Wars Force Awakens when they have Unka Plot
they
and other
certainly
things?
did that, yeah.
I think that was still done pretty well. It gives them this life, They feel like they can be touched, like they breathe and they have an existence in that world or even possibly in this one. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Fury Road did the same thing. You felt like you could actually touch so many of those costumes and vehicles.
Absolutely.
Whilst also seamlessly blending in visual effects to kind of amplify it.
Looking at the feast that's on the table right now, it's just reminds me that food never looks that good in real life. I mean, even if it was an anime film or even if it was animated and stuff, it always looks better.
Right.
I mean, even dare I mention even the movie Hook, where at first there's nothing on the table and then everything's just laid out in front on the table. It looks delicious.
I'll see, this is the part where I say I've never seen that movie.
Oh my, wow.
I've seen clips here and there. I've never actually seen the full thing. I feel like they just got some butter and glazed everything with butter. Just a block of cheese covered in butter.
Or spray it with water. Get that sheen.
Cover the candles with water. Also, here's another little detail about Shang Tsung. He uses 2 fingers every time. Pay attention. If he ever raises his fingers again, it'll always be 2.
It's got this control to it and intelligence, I think, though. That's why 2 fingers, man.
Maybe we could have learned about that if the filmmaker did a commentary, but no. I'm too busy having people die on the set of my new movie.
Oh, wait, what?
Yeah. So, I guess to bring down this commentary, the stuntwoman for Furiosa from Fury Road worked on the new 6th Resident Evil movie.
Oh my, okay.
And ended up driving a motorcycle into the camera. And, yeah, went through some really, really bad injuries.
How big are these cameras?
Big.
Wow.
I think especially if they're 3D cameras. And I felt very sorry for her. I think she lost a hand or an arm. And then there was another part of the crew who had a Humvee fall on him and died.
Wow. Now that is not... No.
If I was Paul Anderson, I would have quit production.
Yep. You know, in this movie, I think Reptile will continue to be probably one of the most fearsome, I think, characters in this movie. For me, at least.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Reptile's unpredictability in the games definitely shows in the movie, where he's got so many interesting attacks, and in this movie, he practically slithers in everything, and it's frightening, you know?
And if they didn't decide to use, like, some kind of just regular spit on Liu Kang, he would have had his face burned off if that was his acid spit move. And then the movie would have been over.
You get away this time.
That's how the film should have ended. It should have been an alternate ending, just acid spit, fatality, credits. And this will be the second time we hear the theme song in the movie. Yay! I think a friend of mine told me that they actually went to the gym and heard this playing over the intercom, and I'm like, shit.
There is nothing wrong with that. Who needs a pre-workout when you can listen to Mortal Kombat's theme song?
Mm-hmm. I think this is also one of the last great kung fu movies of the 90s, before The Matrix came out in 99, and had great kung fu, but also had a lot of CG and wire work worked in.
Oh, yeah.
And that made every other filmmaker decide to use slow motion and bullet time. Whereas this, you actually feel like the hits are connecting, and there's actual martial arts in it.
If only that guy actually hadn't thrown himself before it looked like her arm hit him.
No, man, that's just how powerful Sonya's wrist is.
Those air currents.
It was also hard, like, as a kid, since you love Mortal Kombat so much, it was a hard game to play with your friends because you would have to fight each other. And it wouldn't always work.
It was also just as hard finding an actual arcade that had the game.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like they always had every other new game except for Mortal Kombat, which was heartbreaking. But Dave & Buster's never disappointed.
I will go there someday. I don't think so. Oh, I love you, Raiden. You should be like Christopher Lambert more often. And not a boring elder god in the games. He should have more personality than likability. You're lucky that you actually got to play the arcade games in an arcade, because the only one that I ever saw in an arcade was Mortal Kombat 4. I hardly ever saw any of the other ones.
Thank my uncle. He had great taste in both video games and in movies. Still does.
I think one of the best memories of my childhood was the pride I felt when I finally beat the original Mortal Kombat on my Super Nintendo. I just absolutely couldn't believe that moment and be like, holy crap, I actually did it. And I'm like 6 years old. Do you have a favorite Mortal Kombat game, Joseph, that comes to mind?
Favorite game, actually. Man. I mean, I am not going to feel guilty about it. I really do like these newer ones. They have this just intensity to them, and the graphics are fantastic. I mean, the games are mostly about gore and violence, you know, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but these new ones definitely deliver that you know, what you want from something that intense.
So then which one would you consider your favorite?
Not the newest one, but the one that came just before that, which was available for Xbox 360. I can't quite remember the name of it. I think it was just...
You mean Mortal Kombat 9?
I didn't have a number at the end of it, but...
Well,
technically
in the
it would
series
be...
it's 9.
Yes, but yeah, Mortal Kombat 9 then.
Just reach over to my...
But I do believe it just said Mortal Kombat.
I can't reach that anyway. But yeah, I'm guessing that's the one where I have footage of you on your cell phone talking to your brother, and you're like, really?
That's the one.
And then
That's
you're like,
it.
We got Mortal Kombat.
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah, because when you said newest ones, I'm like, okay, let's see. We have MKX, which he hasn't played. We have MK9, and then we have MK versus DC Universe.
No.
And I'm sure he doesn't mean that one.
Definitely not. Not one for crossover games. So MK9 definitely was cool because they added this like bone crushing X-ray,
Yeah, the X-ray move.
you know, features. It was really amazing.
It also shifted the gameplay back to the classic fighting where it's just you on one side and one on the other side.
Right.
Versus the PS2 era, which had like a 3D world going for it, as well as different fighting styles. So I can definitely congratulate NetherRealm for going back to the classic fighting, but updating the graphics completely.
Oh, yes.
Although I can't stand what they did with the storyline. Have you ever played the story mode on that?
No, I haven't. Got too distracted just doing, you know, good old sparring matches. Cruz, what would you say your favorite character is?
Mortal Kombat character?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm trying to think right now if did that line originate from the games or did it come from the movie?
Oh my god.
I want to say it came from the movie.
Now you have me questioning. How did...
See, I like the fact that you like how exactly are you going to work a fatality title into a film? And I guess you can only do it by having someone say it, which I like, and it works for me. In regards to my favorite character, it has to be Scorpion. I always try to think, maybe I can choose someone not as predictable, but no, it's Scorpion. Can't be really anyone else.
Always has been the most powerful character in my opinion. Yeah, Scorpion, definitely.
Say 2 fingers.
You're
Again.
right. You're right. There's the 2 fingers. I think I'm going to be doing that from now on just to see how it intimidates others.
If I were to pick 4 more for a top 5, I'd pick Nightwolf. I know I've thought about this before numerous times. And I'm drawing a blank.
You've got so many. They've expanded it now to great lengths.
Nightwolf, Kung Lao. I'll just name all the other ones that I like. I like Melina.
Definitely Melina.
I like Noob Saibot.
Noob Saibot is my favorite.
I've studied all your moves. I like Sub-Zero just fine. I like Sector.
Absolutely.
I like Raiden. Just going down the list now. I like Chameleon. It's not usually one that people pick. Did you ever get the chance to play as Chameleon?
Chameleon?
Yeah.
I have not. Never. Who is this?
Chameleon is one of the secret characters, and I was first introduced to him in Mortal Kombat Trilogy, which is a PS1 game that combined Mortal Kombat's 1, 2, 3, and Ultimate 3. And you had to enter a secret code to actually get him. And he was basically every ninja. So as you played, it would change from Scorpion to Sub-Zero to Rain to Reptile to Smoke.
Wow.
So it was all the awesome ninjas at once, basically.
Amazing.
I think the last time we saw that character was in Mortal Kombat Armageddon, which is where they put all of them into one game again. And
Here we go.
Like on the PS2, you could play as a male version, and on the Wii, I think it was a female Chameleon. Also, one of the best scenes in the movie right here.
Where could they film this?
I was about to say that. I
Where?
really want to be in this forest and be like,
Exactly.
Yay, I'm here. And thankfully, they got Ed Boon, who does the voice for Scorpion, to do it here as well.
You know, there's a place here in this desert where we live. We're surrounded by date gardens, date tree gardens, and in these date tree fields, it's just tall palm trees in rows, just like this one here. And I can't help but walk through a date field and feel like I'm in this exact same place. It's the closest thing I can get without knowing where this place is actually at, which is, again, a travesty.
I want to say that a lot of the background might be just green screening more trees in and duplicating it, but this has to be somewhere.
Shadows.
There has to be somewhere.
Has to be a real place.
Yeah.
Wait, I think I saw a car go by. I swear.
Some people don't like the fact that they changed Scorpion's spear to this weird creature, but I think it adds something to him. It makes him feel a little bit more demonic. It gives him a little bit more character.
Organic, yeah.
Like how his eyes widen, like, oh shit.
Into the void.
Now, people have always argued whether this is the Nether Realm, one of the realms from the games, or if it's just somewhere on the island.
Right, some tomb.
I like to think it's the Nether Realm because it makes it look fucking awesome.
Absolutely.
This is just like 90s metal.
It's just got this nightmare feel to it. Like you are fucked.
Without being flashy, it's just this. You're surrounded by decay.
Absolutely. Gotta love those cobwebs.
James actually met Chris Casamassa, who plays Scorpion.
Really?
And James didn't. I was the one who introduced him to Mortal Kombat, like in 2011. I'm like, do you know who you met?
Oh
you don't,
God.
do you? This is also one of those movie fight scenes that I'll randomly turn on just to enjoy it for how well put it's done. How well done it is. Like Matrix Reloaded and the Burly Brawl scene with all the Agent Smiths.
You know, for Scorpion, I'm sure that they knew that they had to make this fight very intense, very fueled.
You have good, I think the band's called Fear Factory. They have an awesome track playing underneath the scene.
Oh, I'm sure they do. You know, it's because I think also everyone knows that if you were to ask anyone to name a Mortal Kombat character off the top of their head, I'm sure most would just say Scorpion.
Yeah.
He's in most of the advertising, most of the boxes on the video games.
And in every single game except for Mortal Kombat 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then the fans were like, what the fuck? And then they made Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 and put him back in.
That's just how vital he is to the franchise.
Yeah, this scene, as I was saying before, is just another great example of
Look at that.
kung fu that looks like you actually have two people who know what they're doing.
Definitely getting some Dick Grayson vibes from Batman.
It's also one of the best lines in the movie coming up.
Yes.
The only other line we get from Scorpion, which is in the second movie, is "suckers." And that's it. That's like the last funny, sarcastic Scorpion we ever get in film history. Like, I think one of the worst things you could do is giving him too many lines to say, which is exactly what the MK9 story mode did. And it's like, no, he's just not cool and demonic anymore.
Yes, here it is.
I like how his eyes just...
Yes.
What are you going to do with no eyebrows? Just move the skull. And some people complain that, oh, he's too easily defeated, but Scorpion never dies, so who gives a shit?
And I think that's a good thing to do. Is, you know, unfortunately Scorpion has to go, but that, I think, is a good way to show that in the games you could play as the lowliest character and still beat the strongest one. You never know the outcome, and that's...
Well, in this case, Johnny got lucky because he found a freaking bladed shield and spear. And then his friendship. See, it's like, how do you work in friendships in the movie like that? It's that simple.
Gold.
And then unfortunately we cut to like one of the most uneventful scenes in the movie, where Liu Kang sort of fights Katana. Oh, that's where... Okay.
What?
I just realized that the monk I was talking about who had his lips sewn shut is right there.
Really?
I guess I was wrong. Stupid me.
The shrouded one?
No, the one sitting with the book.
Oh,
or
with the
standing
big
with
book.
the book, yeah.
Got it.
So let's go to your favorite characters then, Joseph.
Oh boy. When MK9 came out, because I hadn't played all the other games prior to that one, I mean, most games prior to it, there were characters that I felt were definitely new to me, which would have been Noob Saibot, which would have been a character named, was it Rain? I think it was Rain.
Rain.
Yeah, Rain, Noob Saibot, Cyrax is fantastic, and Scorpion, of course.
Yeah, Noob Saibot and Rain, I think, were introduced in either Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 or Mortal Kombat Trilogy.
They're fantastic, honestly.
Yeah, they're really cool.
I think, if anything, in my opinion, once you get, in the video games at least, when you get Noob's moves down, he's very powerful. You know, there's certain moves that are just crushing. They can take almost anybody out, so he's definitely valuable. I think... And then Rain, I don't know. He's the way they designed him is just got this very regal look, but he's still at the same time just as deadly, capable of, you know, surprising you with these moves that you wouldn't have even thought of.
Yeah.
So got some water bending that seemed familiar from from Avatar.
I really like playing as Noob Saibot in Mortal Kombat Trilogy because it was absolutely easy to defeat Shao Kahn with him because his little like white cloud move in MK9 it doesn't allow you to block, but in MK Trilogy you couldn't do anything at all. So all you had to do was just keep hitting Shao Kahn over and over again, and he can do crap. You
know, there's actually a move also in MK9 for Noob, which is where he goes into the air and then comes back down.
Yeah, it sucks you down.
As long as you keep doing that, you're sure to win.
I like the fact that he's one of the only characters who has an X-ray move where his kick is powerful enough to make you vomit all over his leg.
Yes, and it's such a real move too. If you kicked someone in the gut, I'm sure that's what could happen.
Seeing as we're here at the scene of Sub-Zero, I like the fact that Noob Saibot is actually the original Sub-Zero resurrected.
Here we are again with the blue lights.
Yeah. Paul Anderson, why did you decide to use blue lighting for so much of Mortal Kombat? Oh, right. Would Sub-Zero resort to throwing down a candle?
I was gonna say, was it supposed to engulf him in flames, or
really, Sub-Zero?
Hot wax. Smoke bomb.
I'm the master of cold and ice. Pocket sand. At this point, he's like, "Oh, fuck this. I'll just freeze this guy." Once again, looking good for 90s CG.
Oh, yeah. It's really getting pulled out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm. That's all I'm good for in this movie. Bye.
I'm just frustrated why she's not in the blue regalia, you know? It's always black.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It is disappointing.
I still think it makes her look... Oh, crap. Is it Alyssa Soto or is it Talisa Soto? The actress who plays Katana. I think she looks good in that outfit. I think if it had a blue tinge to it, it would have been better.
You know, yeah, you're right. Just at least a hint, you know? She's already been revealed, but...
No, I don't know how a bucket of water turns into a spear, but it doesn't matter.
'Cause that was cool. I was about to ask the exact same thing.
This is another line I quote all the time. I don't know why.
Which one?
At last. Also, like, yeah, it's a little cheap to show people just getting thrown on the floor, but it's like, it's a good way to show that this guy pretty much beats the shit out of everyone while saving time.
Although they're not exactly as maimed or scarred or bruised as you would think a guy with 4 arms can do to a person.
Well, we have to remember, it's the feature film, Mortal Kombat. PG-13.
True. And the standards...
Two fingers.
My God.
Why?
I'm just waiting to see him twitch with at least a pinky, like in 3. No, wait.
5. No, 3. 3.
You know, the standards for PG-13 back then, I'm sure, were much more innocent than what they are now.
Yeah.
You know, now you have people saying the F word at least once, you know?
Mm-hmm. Which is a standard for it.
Right, but I mean, now they practically throw it in every PG-13 film.
Yeah. Now my mind is trying to think of PG-13 movies I do it well. I can't think of any off the top of my head, though. That's actually the creators right there.
What?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember who exactly.
I'm trying to remember what.
It's Ed Boon and I think John Tobias. I want to say it's them.
Had to have a cameo.
Yeah. Then, of course, Ed Boon has his voice as Scorpion as well. Have you seen the Comic-Con panel of a fan asking him to do the voice for the crowd?
Never.
Oh, it's so cool.
Of Scorpion's voice?
Yeah.
Oh my God, no!
Because
I need to see this.
I used to think that he might deepen it with the computer or something, but no, he sounds exactly like that when he does it.
That's when he knew he messed up.
See, if this were Jax, there'd be a little bit more emotional connection, but it's just a guy we don't really know. Yeah, there they are.
Wow. Again.
fans kind of complain that, like, oh, you made a PG-13 Mortal Kombat, but I don't particularly mind it being PG-13. And R would have probably added a bit more gruesomeness to it, which is fine. But I like the fact that it focuses more on martial arts than it does, like, spine ripping. Like, this track in the background is actually from an electronic band called Buckethead, who, once again, is not only using electronic in this track, but is using a lot of great instrumental orchestration. And it sounds exactly like it came from the game.
You know, you're right. Even if it was Jax, I think with her screaming no, it would
Yeah,
have had
it
a
would
little
have
bit
made
more
more
attachment,
sense.
you know? It kind of doesn't make sense with her screaming no to someone she's never seen before when she's
Yeah.
been watching other men drop dead in front of her.
Hey, Joseph, you know what it's time for?
Oh, no.
It's time for 2 fingers.
Oh, God. Look, I saw a third one almost go up.
I like Lyndon Ashby's scream there. There's a lot of emotion to it.
A lot.
When I think of movie Nose, I think of that one. It's also used in the trailer. This line right here is what I think to myself whenever I can't fucking beat Mortal Kombat. I'm getting my ass kicked by Shao Kahn over and over again, and I'm like, just think about what Raiden said. I can clearly beat them. But sometimes you can't.
In MK9, he's very difficult to defeat, you know? Very. You know, with his sword moves and his axe and even his blocking. It's hardcore. It's very
He
frustrating.
hits you with that hammer and you're fucking
You're
stuck in a dizzy spin and
done.
you're like, son of a bitch.
And that's all he needs.
It's like if you're lucky, you'll get him like stuck in a loop if you keep hitting him with Kung Lao's hat or Baraka's flash of sparks or whatever. But then there are characters that don't have a projectile, and it's like, well, crap.
Yeah. You have to be very up close.
Like you,
and that's
Sonya,
not-
it took forever to beat him with you. I had to use your kick move over and over again.
I think Sonya does have a projectile move in MK9.
She does, but
She
it
has a gun.
sucks.
Oh, but
no,
it does
no,
suck. And
she has the Stryker has the gun. Sonya has the pink rings.
Right. That's right. The pink rings.
I want Ed Boon to write a book about where exactly this power comes from. Because with Liu Kang, it makes sense. He's a monk, and he has this dragon spirit infused with him, and so he can shoot fire from his hands. Okay. Sonya shoots pink rings.
How?
What?
Hey, man, no matter how bizarre their powers may seem.
Whether it be pink rings or whatever the fuck Draman is. Did you, I can't remember, did you play MK Deadly Alliance or Deception or Armageddon?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I have not played. MK9 was really the only time I'd been introduced to Mortal Kombat since my childhood.
Huh.
It was really the freshest thing for me.
So then you haven't played as every character then.
No, I haven't.
Okay, so there's plenty of characters you don't know about.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. I've heard.
Have you played Shaolin Monks?
Oh, my God, why does that sound so familiar?
PS2, co-op game, like adventure. Yeah.
I'll have to look it up later, but for now, I'm going to say no.
I'd reach over and grab it, but if I did that, then Mike would fall over. That's totally something we should play. That's probably one of the best co-op games anyone can play is Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks. It has a lot of good, like, I can't define it, but a lot of 90s cinema had a lot of good orange lighting, especially with sunsets. Like this
Very
this looks like a
soft.
90s music video.
Orange creamsicle color.
Yeah. I'm just expecting all these pop songs to be going up the screen right now. Featuring such classics as You're the Reason in My Life. You're the
Inspiration. It's got that biker gang jacket on again.
It's good though. I
It
like
is.
that. I like that thick leather design.
Yes.
This guy will always be Shang Tsung to me. Now that wait, I was gonna say that he's the only live action portrayal of him, but I'm wrong, because Mortal Kombat Conquest, the TV series, had a different Shang Tsung who was an idiot and spent like the entire show in Outworld going, how can I defeat those pesky Earthrealm warriors?
Really?
Speaking of which, if anyone is wondering what Joseph looks like and wants to put a face on his voice, just look up Mortal Kombat Conquest Kung Lao and you'll see what he looks like.
Cruz tagged me in this photo of him years
The
ago,
actor.
and I honestly had to do a double take. I was like, well, if there was ever a doppelganger.
It'd be Kung Lao from Conquest.
And is there any complaint? No.
No. A deal's a deal. You fucked up, Johnny. I'm glad the subtitles are in K's as well. I just
Oh my god, you're right.
If you ever meet anyone that spells Mortal Kombat with a C, just slap them in the face.
They're vilified. Yep, banished.
Goro. Goro. Oh, he's behind us. Oh, we should probably get out of his way, I guess. There we go.
I think it would have been way cooler if you just grabbed them and threw them out of the way.
That's a good point.
That would have been really cool.
Although you should probably avoid shots like this because he doesn't look as big. That's fine. If you do any wide shots, it's gonna. There they are again.
Oh my god.
Who do you prefer, Joseph? Goro or Kintaro or Shiva?
Ooh, you know, Goro's great, but I think Shiva.
Are you fucking kidding
I'm not
me?
kidding. I'm not kidding. I don't know why Shiva's actually scarier to me than
Joseph
those.
is now fired. I will be doing the remainder of this commentary by myself.
And I'll take Shiva with me.
You're gonna have her. Ew.
I don't know. She just seemed to have the same power as Goro, but she still looked more frightening than Goro.
In 9 or the original games?
In 9. See, the thing is that in 9 she looked fantastic. It was terrifying.
Oh, she's the worst designed character next to Baraka.
No. Ew, Baraka.
That's great. See, how do you work a signature move from
They
the
never
game into
see
the
that
movie?
coming.
Right there.
Yeah, sorry. Wait, I don't want to fight you. Why would you run away when he's in his weakest state? Now's your chance to take him.
Yeah. But no, man, Johnny has a plan.
I guess.
Yeah, they are again.
Yelling at each other again.
See, that's a wide shot. That's terrible.
It's the low shots that really give him his
Yeah.
height.
See, you hear that score?
Yes.
That just sounds like it's straight from the game. Thank you, George Clinton. I even emailed him and I'm like, so how come they never released your full score for the second movie? And they're like, I have no idea.
They actually responded?
He did, yeah.
Amazing.
Anyway, gotta go. I gotta go back to doing a score for,
Oh, God.
what was it? The Rock in Tooth Fairy?
No. What? Really?
Sunglasses, asshole. Yeah, I think it was him. I think I looked at his future work that he was doing at the time, and it was there. I'm like, how do you go from Mortal Kombat to Tooth Fairy? I like how he just falls into nothingness, just clouds.
I was gonna say, if this is the same island, how is there this void of clouds billowing underneath when we know there's a beach? A very nice one,
really,
by the way.
really high. You saw those stairs that they climbed up?
You got me there.
Well, see, originally I thought that his island was an Outworld, but then I remember, oh yeah, they go into Outworld in this portal. So his island is basically on the verge of Earthrealm and Outworld. In Outworld.
Amazing.
As we agreed. And then the Jello absorbs them.
There's always got to be a damsel in distress in a castle.
Considering it's Sonya, I don't really know why they went with that. I mean, throughout this film, Shang Tsung has this tendency to just creep up on Sonya and be like, "My sweet Sonya." Like, if you... Oh, crap, what does he say to Kano? I can't remember what he says, but he, like, threatens him. He's like, "You're gonna need a seeing eye dog." So I know that his intention is to find, like, the weakest of the three fighters and use her to basically say, "No, I won't fight you," and win the 10th tournament. But at the same time, he seems to have this weird fascination with her, and I don't know why. This is another thing I quote all the time. Just subconsciously. Every time I say good luck to someone,
Oh my God.
I just finish with that.
Another favorite set. I don't know why I favor this set more than any other scene in the movie.
It's just so well detailed.
It really is.
And it just once again says 90s. I don't know why. Because blue everywhere.
Blue lighting.
I like how not only is it a good representation of Outworld, but it's also a good representation of 90s death metal, I guess. It's like being back in high school. Okay, I'm gonna rant about Reptile in this scene for a little bit.
Oh no.
Done very well, because he's a secret character in the first game that you can somehow uncover. I can't remember how. So just like in the movie, he secretly uncovers Reptile, and after that, he fights Reptile. He then eventually becomes a ninja after he throws him into that statue. Which is also an awesome scene because, like, these worms come out of nowhere and just absorb him.
See, this terrified me as a child.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
That's great.
It really did the job.
And if you listen closely here,
yes,
you'll have the narrator say Reptile, which is an amazing detail that you didn't need to put in the movie, but you did anyway. And yet, every single person I've showed this movie to asked me, "So who's that ninja he just fought?"
What?
What? It was Reptile. Oh, I thought it was just Sub-Zero again. But you saw Reptile get absorbed. What did you think happened? Like,
you heard the narration.
No, see, there's the thing. I'm like, you heard the narration, right? No.
Oh.
Fuck. So it's like every time I'm like, please, for the love of God, listen to this thing that's happening. Otherwise, you're not going to get it. Even as a kid, I heard Reptile, and I'm like, I see.
I understand the confusion, though, because the last fight he had was with Sub-Zero, who does look, in a way, similar to Reptile.
Yeah, unless you're colorblind and can't tell that his outfit's green.
Right. And the mask is different, too, compared to the others. It's got that signature look that each of them have. They have their own regalia.
I also like the fact that Liu Kang wins this fight despite Reptile pretty much kicking his ass
Oh,
like
yeah.
90% of the time.
If there was a life meter shown on the top, you know his would be low.
He would have been dead by now.
Yeah.
Just a really good remix of the theme,
Oh, yeah.
too. Even though... Oh, wait, no, I think they were credited in the credits for this. Juno Reactor, who's an electronic band that does this amazing combination of orchestra and electronic, did the mixing for this, I believe. And went on to actually have one of their original songs in the second movie. And also went on to put their incredible orchestra mixed with synth in a variety of different movies, including The Matrix.
Wow.
Like, they co-composed The Matrix Reloaded with Don Davis and made it sound incredible. I would ask you what's your favorite reptile form from the games, but you haven't played all of them,
Yeah,
so I don't know how many you know
I can't
of.
give an honest answer with that.
Also, how do you incorporate one of the fighting moves in the game? Just like this. That is awesome.
Nothing wrong with that at all. Awesome. Just awesome.
I like how in the credits they even have a little... You know how they normally say that no animals were harmed during the making of this movie?
Yeah.
I think in the credits for this one they say no insects were harmed during the making of this movie. I think it's by some company that says we respect all living creatures no matter how small they are.
Good for them. Good
like,
for
well,
them.
it's good to know that the hissing cockroaches were fine.
You know, seeing the shadows in the background, you know, it gives this vibe that as hostile as this environment looks, it is another world,
Mm-hmm.
and it is in some small way habitable.
Yeah.
That's great. In some mysterious way.
In regards to these kind of Mortal Kombat worlds, like if you ever like want to explore more of them in the universe of Mortal Kombat Deception has a conquest mode where it's basically like a third-person exploring game.
Amazing, really?
Yeah. And I don't know if Ed Boon still considers them canon or not, but they had Earthrealm, which is our world, Outworld, which is this world, and where people like Melina and Baraka and Scorpion, maybe not, Shao Kahn, Shang Tsung, people like that come from. Then you have Edenia, which is this like super peaceful, almost fantasy-like realm where Kitana comes from. They have Order Realm, which is like a super strict, like fascist ruling place.
Wow.
They have Chaos Realm, which is where everything is exactly what it sounds like. It's chaos and nothing makes sense. And then Nether Realm, which is basically hell.
God, and this is what game again, Cruz?
Deception. Mortal Kombat Deception.
I've got to take a look at that. There's nothing I love more than world building.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's a movie that has a plot that takes place in a different time period or post-apocalyptic, anything that involves a reality that seems plausible, even if it wasn't, entices me greatly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good way to kind of explore those different worlds, even though it's in a very kind of simple kind of way. You meet a lot of different Mortal Kombat characters along the way, and it has a good sense of humor about it. Get it? Get it? No? It's based off a game. Joseph?
I am drawing a blank here. I am desperately trying to search for the reference.
No, the reference was I'm not playing your game, and it's in Mortal Kombat. It's a game.
Oh, God.
There you go.
Oh, my God.
I also don't know why Shang Tsung put her in that outfit, but
I was gonna say,
yeah.
is she going to the club in the '90s or or what? Oh God! No, no, not that line.
I like that line though. I like how he says that line, and it's like, what do you mean, Shang Tsung? This is clearly treachery. Like, I don't know why you're trying to backtrack on this. You're clearly caught in the act. Can you imagine what would have happened if at that moment Johnny Cage was like, "Yep, totally accept." And Liu Kang's like, "What? No, wait, shit." I really like how they designed that floor with an
I
MK
was
logo.
just gonna. I was hoping to reveal that is my favorite part.
It's probably one of my favorite logos in general.
Oh yes.
Oh, Johnny.
You look so tormented.
That's also one of those logos that you tried drawing as a kid and you just never could get right.
Dare I mention the Skater S?
Oh, that.
Could never do it.
I still don't know the origins of that S. All my skater friends drew it. I'm like, I wonder what that means.
Everyone gave it a shot. The fight scene here is just so great, so real. It's done well.
I really wish I could have been in the theater like when this came out. That way I could have freaked out every time the theme came on.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
Because how often do you get something that was so recognizable for the franchise that you're adapting and placed into the movie? I like how not only do they introduce this fact that he can bring these warriors back to life from these souls that he has, but the fact that they don't show just regular guys pop up. They show guys from almost every different era of history. So you have like different dynasties from different warriors from different dynasties just popping up, representing a different race or a different country. And of course, if I ever showed this movie to someone who had no familiarity with the game, when these guys popped up, it was like, is that anyone? No. How about that guy? No. They're not from the games.
If I was a trapped soul and was set free, I wouldn't be fighting somebody. I'd be like out of there.
What year is it?
Don't care. Run. What inclination do they have to fight for him? But oh well, they're doing it anyways.
They're probably under his power.
That's unfortunate.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
more blue lighting. It just works
Yes,
so
there
well.
it is.
Die.
Yes, I remember that. Perfect.
It's in the trailer too.
God.
Owned.
This has to be where the floor sinks in, right?
Well, no, it doesn't sink in. If anything, it protrudes.
Right, okay, protrudes. There we go.
It's a good effect too.
Flawless.
Really,
It was
really
done.
quick, but really well done.
Flawless victory right there.
No, it doesn't matter that, like, yeah, he
A
just saw
second
Shang
ago.
Tsung transform into...
Shang Tsung, I'll murder you. Brother, where'd Shang Tsung go? Doesn't matter.
Harvey Dent, you're back. Two-Face is just here. Two-Face, what have you done with Harvey Dent?
Yes.
What do you see here? Harvey Face. And what about here? Scary Face.
That scene in SpongeBob where they're showing him the... He's like, oh.
Oh, yeah. I like how they smile when they do that. They're like, cool. I'm pretty sure that's all foil that the spikes are protruding through. I think that's a miniature, and that's just protruding through foil.
You might be right.
I quote this line, too. I don't have a brother, but I just yell that out.
Oh, that's what my brother would used to say.
What?
You're mine.
Right. Why?
I don't know.
What would you be doing?
My brother and I would always play fight.
Okay.
Always. If you ever saw Ninja Turtles 3, where they go to feudal Japan.
No, I never saw that
No,
one.
dang.
I think I only saw the first one.
There's this part where Leonardo goes to Shredder and says, "You're lying," and then Shredder goes, "Do I?" And then they attack. It's kind of got that feel to it.
Chosen one. You ever watch Kung Pao, Joseph?
Oh God, no!
Son
Another
of a
movie I
bitch.
was not allowed
Son of
to
a
watch. Every kid in school saw it, but me. Is that the one where the cow fights?
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah, I've never seen it.
That's another film I really need to show you.
That sounds endearing.
Oh, I didn't know you felt that way, Shanson. I really wish Shang Tsung was one of my more favorite characters. And he kind of is, because I think stealing someone's soul is awesome.
Very.
But he's just never gotten a good time to shine. Save your pity for the weak.
Yes.
I tell that to people, they get sad for me.
Blue lighting.
Also, this track you hear in the background is used in so many 90s trailers. They also used it in Beverly Hills Ninja.
Really?
Which also stars Robin Shao, Liu
This
Kang.
same track.
Yeah. And as a kid, I'm like, haha, I know where that's from.
Wasting him.
Liu Kang, press forward, forward, square. Yeah.
Think you got the point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he did punch you a bunch of times, so I wouldn't say that. But sure, flawless victory. That's such a great
That's
effect,
well
too.
done.
That's so good.
Well done.
Blue light everywhere. Also, shots like this, I don't know where to start on this, but and I don't know why, but franchises like Mortal Kombat and Resident Evil and Silent Hill, despite the fact that they have a lot of death infused in them, I get the sense of life from them. And it seems like this, and it's music like this, that add to that idea. Earlier in the film, Raiden also says Mortal Kombat isn't about death, but life. And for some reason, as a kid, I always saw a sense of peace within Mortal Kombat and Resident Evil and Silent Hill.
You know, that's actually very well said. It does draw that on the line.
Mm-hmm. But I think that's a good representation of that there is life infused in the Mortal Kombat tournament.
That's true, because it is about saving a whole
Your
planet,
realm,
right?
yeah.
Your whole realm.
And potentially having your soul stolen.
Right.
Along with the fact that Earthrealm has mortals fighting Outworld, which potentially has immortals with these powers that you've never encountered before.
Right. You know, in the last shot, I'd never noticed, but if you were to rewind it, you would have seen there was different worlds or planets in the sky, not like a moon.
Yeah, yeah.
That actually really reveals that you are somewhere completely ethereal. I never noticed that until now.
Mm-hmm. Actually, in the second movie, there's a shot where they actually show, like, I think planets revolving around Shao Kahn's palace or something. But we don't talk about the second movie. Actually, have you ever seen the second movie?
I've never. I was about to follow with that. I'd never seen it.
Well, you've been spared.
Leave it to Cruz to show me the good things and spare me from the bad things.
There are elements of the second movie I like, but in comparison to this one, it feels so cheap.
I really need to find the score here at the end.
Oh, I'll give it to you. I have the soundtrack. It's a 7-minute long song of this peaceful electronic rhythm. Yeah! And that's Mortal Kombat.
And that's it.
One of the best endings ever.
You know, that was actually very refreshing to see again after all this time.
Well,
you know, I thank you, Cruz, for the opportunity. That was good. I have a newfound appreciation once again, being older, but that was good.
Well, that's my intention. What did I say the other day? I was asking my friends, like, when the ice cream man came around, what would you get?
Oh,
and they were like, so why'd you ask that? And I'm like, because without a little bit of nostalgia in your everyday life, you will go insane.
That's very true, or live a monotonous life.
It's like, did it not make you feel better to think about the ice cream man as a kid? And they're like, you know, you're right.
Yeah, absolutely. God, now I want ice cream.
Yeah.
Thanks, Cruz. Oh, man. Ice cream sandwiches, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
That was always my favorite ice cream from the Ice Cream Man.
Really?
Yes.
Mm.
And it will still be.
My number one thing I would always get, like, when it wasn't an ice cream sandwich, it would be the Bugs Bunny ice cream.
Oh my god, with the gumball eyes?
Yes.
Yes.
Number one thing I would always get. And then as I grew up, I would usually get the strawberry shortcake things.
What are those?
They're like, they had a crumbly bread coating, and on the inside they had, like, strawberry.
Yes. Absolutely. For me, it was always drumsticks and ice cream sandwiches.
Mm-hmm.
Never go wrong with those. Francois Petit, Sub-Zero. Huh. I'll have to remember that. So much, like, eyebrow game. And Sub-Zero's acting in the movie, if you ever really see him fight again, I notice now that he's very expressionable with his eyes.
Yeah.
So I'll remember that. Yeah, since that's all you really see of his face.
Mm-hmm.
I think they did the same thing for Batman Dark Knight Rises with Tom Hardy playing Bane. I think they hired Tom Hardy because I think his eyebrows put a lot of fury in them.
Mm. I still need to see
Fury
that.
Road. I'm sorry. It was my turn at a terrible joke.
Also, that's another detail I like. They have the little combat codes from the game in the credits.
What?
You didn't need to do that, but they did anyway, so it's cool.
Where? Was that the question mark?
Yeah, that was the code. That was
Really?
one of the combat codes.
Oh my god.
And I think you could actually enter the ones they have in the credits in the game, and you'd unlock something. I can't remember what though.
Wow. The more you know.
Yeah, Paul W.S. Anderson, with this movie and with the first Resident Evil movie, he does this great job at not, like I said, doing a by-the-books adaptation, but taking the universe of the game and making his own story. And he does that by putting the Umbrella Corporation logo everywhere, or putting certain camera angles to reflect the video game. There's another combat code.
Wow.
Or even in this movie, he puts combat codes in the credits. He had the narrator say reptile.
There's a Mortal Kombat theme as well through the movie.
There's a Mortal Kombat theme. And Resident Evil, it has a lot of shots from the security camera. And because in the first Resident Evil game, it felt like you were watching your character from a security camera. So it isn't blatant, and it's very well done. So I have no idea why he decided to ruin all that by making Resident Evil Afterlife and Retribution and completely forget everything that he did. I don't know why. That's another movie I need to show you, the first Resident Evil.
I've never played a Resident Evil game,
Well,
never
then
seen
you need
them.
to play and watch them.
You know what? Now I've got to.
Like, I really wish I could meet this guy, because when I see interviews with him for, like, the first Resident Evil, he actually seems like a guy who really wanted to adapt this into a film, and that was his passion. And then he went on to write the second and third movies, which are just as good, and then he came back to direct the fourth and fifth, and I don't know what the hell went through his head. He just, like, got lazy and just threw up on paper, and then it's like, okay, there you go.
You know, I think it is an important element to make sure that if you're going to adapt any form of other media or entertainment into a movie, it's important to make it watchable for people who aren't familiar with the material and for the fans themselves. And I think this is one of those movies where it's fitting for both crowds.
Like, I showed it to Crystal, and she said, like, you know, without knowing anything about the games, this was a really great way to introduce me to just the idea or the story.
Mm-hmm.
It's very user-friendly in a way.
Right.
So we have puppeteers, creature effects.
I mean, there's a field that'll definitely put people who want to get into the movie business to work if it was still used, which is unfortunately not the case.
There's my grandfather, Steve Moore.
Really?
No.
Oh, God, I almost flipped out for a second.
His name is Steve, though.
Oh.
So, Joseph, anything else to add to this movie that you have come back to and this video game series that you love?
I mean, no. I mean, more watching it again, I really feel that I have a greater appreciation for it all over. You know, a bigger love, if anything. Seeing it now with, older eyes and, with a more bigger perspective on how movies work, I think this definitely is worth watching again. Mm-hmm. I mean, why not watch it once a month or once a year, you say, in your case?
I like the fact that this is one of the video game movies that usually is included in the list of video game adaptations that are done well. Because there are, like, just a number of them that are done terribly and are crap, but the first Mortal Kombat movie always seems to get a thumbs up from people.
I think we all know which movies Cruz refers to when he gets very adamant about which movies are crap.
A lot of people like the first Silent Hill movie, and production-wise, it looks great. The story is dumbed down from the original story, and that really bothers me.
I think their focus on that movie was just throwing in all the monsters.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it was, throwing in the monsters.
They look good in the movie.
Yeah, but it's
the
just,
story is
you
crap.
don't get that feel from Silent Hill
Mm-hmm.
that I got when I played it, which is just dread. Sometimes there's hopelessness, but there's also mystery. There's mysticism in it. And I like it. I like the elements Silent Hill had to offer, but the movie just didn't deliver.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, here's they are, and here's them running, and here's her scared. But never really that mysticism.
And here's a storyline that becomes dumbed down to, like,
no.
she's a witch, burn her, and that's our religion.
Yeah.
Like, well, that wasn't the story at all.
At all. And then, dare I even mention Revelations, where it's
You
just...
saw that, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I did see it. When you're bored living in a hostel with Netflix on your phone, you'll watch anything.
When did you live in a hostel?
This was in Colorado.
Oh, okay.
Quite an experience. Nothing's better than living in a hostel in rural Colorado and having your friends tell you, hey, you hear about this movie called Hostel? You know, you should probably watch that. Oh.
Well, at least it wasn't a hostel in Europe.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Fear Factory, KMFDM, just great metal electronic bands from the 90s.
I have no idea what Fear Factory is,
Juno
but
Reactor.
Oh, okay.
What? Oh, Fear Factory? It's a band.
When you said Fear Factory,
also
I
was
thought
on the
about
Resident
Fear
Evil
Factory.
soundtrack.
Really?
Yeah, which also shows that Paul Anderson knows what he's doing
Wow.
by having the same bands on his soundtracks. So, what the hell? Also, you can play Mortal Kombat 3 at arcades everywhere.
Tragic.
See, snake and insect action was monitored. Sensitive treatment of the smallest of Earth's creatures.
Thank the Humane Society, everyone. Gotta have that disclaimer.
Also, here's one little detail from the games that is great.
Perfect. Well worth staying after the credits. Take that, Marvel.
Yeah, he does the same thing with the Resident Evil movies too, and it's just one nice little addition to it. Well, that was my 1995 classic Mortal Kombat favorite film. It's in my top 20 favorite films of all time, and a film that completely was a huge part of my childhood, and it continues to be such a great film. Joseph, any last words?
No, I want to say thank you for letting me come over here for the commentary. It was a good experience, and like I said, it was always welcome to be with somebody so knowledgeable about how movies work. And if you want a good recommendation, you can always ask Cruz. Always.
Yay.
He's got this extensive list of all the movies that are his favorite, and I gotta tell you,
plugging.
It's amazing. And literally every movie on there that I've seen has not disappointed me.
Well, I'm very glad that you're someone that I can actually talk about movies with, and someone who actually can provide some kind of commentary to this kind of thing. So I'm hoping you're back for more, and anyone who's listening, I hope you enjoy the commentary, and we will see you next time.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.